Hey, what is up guys, Massive here, back to do another video, and we are on Tournament Dust Bowl No Poker Edition. This is a pretty sick game. I'm going to be playing as the ZOCOM, my opponent will be playing as the Black Hand, so definitely not a good matchup for the ZOCOM, especially on Dust Bowl that usually results in the Black Hand player base pitching you with an MCV. So we're going to see how this goes. I am using a alternate lighting version of this map. You can go grab it if you download the R22 1v1 map pack and select the alternate lighting of Tournament Decision. It's in the installer options, and no need to mention this, but I'm always running the 4K mod. I have been doing so since creating it. Guys, if you haven't already got R22 and the 4K mod yet, then it's a really great time to go and download and install it, since now not only do you have the three usual map packs, the 1v1, 2v2 and 4v4, but also if you've seen my community posts, you would have noticed that there's a fourth map pack, and I've included all of the maps that were removed from R22 Plus over the years, as well as included all of the EA maps that did not receive the patch treatment. So if you want to play on a map that wasn't in the pack, then you can go get it on the legacy map pack. Not to mention, I've also reverted the handicap to vanilla. I heard a couple complaints that the handicap is not very intuitive. I agree. So for those 52 maps, the handicap will be like as it is in vanilla. So we've got a flame tank coming out. I went for a pitbull first versus Black Hand. It's pretty standard to go for a pitbull first. You want to scout your opponent. You cannot afford to go without scouting unless you're versus center, like I always say. But even he does have the courage to rush now and then, which makes him a little less predictable. The flame tank was spotted. He's going to go back to base. He doesn't want to push out across the map. Logical, since I'm just going to kite it with this pitbull until it goes back to base anyways. So what he'll likely do here is go for a bunch of bikes to escort this flame tank. He's got a fourth harvester out. I'm also on the 4 harvesters, so more or less we are even. I was maybe forced to overspend. I'm making pitbulls instead of predator tanks because I was afraid he'd have a second flame tank. I forgot the timing, but if you're scouting on this map with a pitbull first, there's only one flame tank on the map, and that's the one in the middle of the map. But I'm still making sure that there's nothing approaching from the south. Again, this is just me not playing like a bazillion games every month like I used to many years ago. I forgot the timings. I forgot just how many units my opponent would have on the map after X amount of time. That's normal, alright? Even though I have like 20,000 games under my belt, it's a vast majority of them were played a long time ago, and I simply don't have the time to play like 500 games a month now to retain the same skill level as I once had. But I still think my skill level is adequate to bring awesome games, and I have 2 or 3 games to showcase which I think are really good. We get some repairs on these pitbulls. They took a lot of damage from that raider buggy and that flame tank. Flame tank got a nice amount of AoE damage around that factory. But I sadly did overspend. I've got 6 pitbulls, and he's going to burn down my tier spike. So even though his flame rush quote-unquote failed, didn't destroy any of my infrastructure, Black Hand is going to deny that income trickling in over time. I'm not going to have that $600 a minute. Let's see if I can target down a house. That will sadly not go down. Secret Shrine there. Could target it. It's in an exposed position, but 6 pitbulls doesn't have a huge amount of DPS. I don't think he'll let me kill a Secret Shrine. If he has a Operation Center, he can of course just laser fence that anyways. So as ZOCOM here, I have a couple options. I'm actually going to go for a pretty standard strategy, which is to go for a bunch of hammerheads and predator tanks. The hammerheads to counter the bike buggy, and the hammerheads to kill the infantry. They also deal decently against bike buggy with that ceramic armor, but not when Tiberium core missiles is resurged. ZOCOM have a pretty rough time versus Black Hand due to the Tiberium core missile bikes, and as well as the 2 MCVs, right? They just go for SAM turrets with that typical upgrade. And if you decide to spam infantry, which is another major part of ZOCOM, infantry spam, that's not going to work for you either, since the Black Hand player has access to supercharged particle beams, or in their case, charged particle beams, but it's more or less the same DPS. It's exactly the same damage, just visually appears different. It's a little cheaper for Black Hand. It's only $1,000. Then it takes them 30 seconds to research that, whereas Mock take a little longer. So Infantry definitely not an option versus Black Hand. Plus they get that super powerful Cabal squad at the start of the game, which has the most amount of upgrades of anything in the game. You get the Black Disciples, and then you get the charged particle beams for it, and then a third upgrade, the Purifying Flame, affects the Black Disciple of that unit. So it's really unique in that regard, if you exclude epic units from the conversation. Harvester goes down there, and I now have a bunch of Predator tanks coming into his base. It's not a lot of DPS. This is a suicide squad, really. He's going to target this down. I'm not going to achieve very much here. I'm trying to lower the amount of bikes he has on this map so these hammerheads can have a little easier time. But I do not have AP ammo research just yet. I've got this V35 Ox I'm going to send to the Tiberium Spike. Another Harvester goes down, so I'm actually quite happy with that. Again, you want to try and put some pressure onto the Black Hand player as ZOCOM. You want to have some sort of advantage if you can get it.
Our base is under attack.
Power plant is under attack. He's got that Black Disciple upgrade now. And I've got a Hammerhead or two, which is not going to really contain a Black Hand player for long, if at all, since they are going to get killed by that bike buggy with the Tiberium core. I'm going to now land that engineer at the spike, grab myself a T-spike. I'm not going to have a second spike, but better me getting that income than him, so I'm going to deny him that resources. There's an EMP control center on this map. I could destroy it since it's most likely going to deal more damage to me than it is to him, since his units are mostly unaffected by it, since he's got infantry, and bike buggy move way too quick for that to even hit them, unless your opponent isn't microing them, which is very rare. So yeah, ZOCOM control the map, which is very usual in the mid-game, right? He's got the quad turret upgrade on those SAMs, and he's now going to establish a third that infantry force. I cannot really engage with the hammerheads. I got a lot of hammerheads here, but if I attack into 20 rocket scores, that's going to get destroyed. I've only got 7 hammerheads, so while it looks like a lot, I'm going to attempt it though, since every opportunity you can get, you really want to try and take. I'm going to lose hammerheads. Yeah, it wasn't a good idea. You see just there what I was talking about, right? I mean, I didn't even come close to killing his army, and that force of mine was dramatically lowered in size. The rockets already found the Predator tanks to fire at, so that allowed an opening for those hammerheads to sweep in and kill some of those rockets. Now, the Predator tanks have some leeway here. I'm going to go ahead and try and kill some of these bikes before he gets the upgrade, since I know he has a tier 3. And these bikes are going to get researched with that tip core upgrade relatively soon. More bikes reinforcing, an obelisk comes down, so yeah, this force is pretty much dead. I have no hope of really surviving here. Tier 3 comes down for me. I can't afford to remain on tier 1 forever. And these forces are just coming in one by one. I need to stop you losing units like this. He has not yet established a ref on his field. I've got an expansion set up, but that doesn't mean a whole lot as ZOCOM, since my opponent, once he gets tip core online, it's going to be very formidable, and he's going to be able to get back into this game pretty easily. And I'm afraid he'll have a lot of bikes moving towards my base. He could be doing what a lot of players do, which is a two base all in. They forego the third just to pump out a ton of units and to kill your expansion. That's what's happening here. He's moving in with the bikes. That's a heroic bike. And the catalyst comes down, so he did a lot of damage there, taking out one of my refineries, and he can even use the tip vapor bomb in combat with the Tiberium vein detonation, hence how I did the sonic repulsion field on that refinery. I want to keep it alive, and here comes a wave of units. Rockets coming in, Cabals upgraded with that charged particle beam. I'm going to summon in some sniper teams. I simply have nothing to defend this off aside from a watchtower, which is nowhere near enough at this present time. Marv's going to come out soon. I'm summoning in those sniper teams, but if those infantry get on top of those V35 Oxes, they're going to be able to kill those snipers. Now, granted, the snipers do have stealth, so as long as I don't open up in the range of those Cabals, I can get some damage dealt on that force. And this is just buying him time getting his base established. So even though I'm holding this off, he's still got that army, right, of bike buggy, and it's attacking my main, right? There's something attacking my main. It can only be the bikes, unless it's something else. No, it's the bike buggy. Here's a heroic bike once again. That MCV of mine's going to get destroyed. Oh no, that was terrible. More heroic units for him. And this has bought him a lot of time to get down his expansion. He's no doubt at this point going to have an expansion. He killed a lot of my harvesters. He didn't lose a whole lot, really. That infantry was expendable that he sent in. And the harvesters got destroyed. He took out my main. My main's completely destroyed. Another 2 of my harvesters falls. Watchtowers aren't doing a whole lot, man. Like, these spikes, when promoted, are so hard to kill. A flame tank moving across the map, and I just could not believe what I was seeing here. I didn't mention who I'm playing against, but man, oh man, did it feel like someone else when who I was playing here. But this game from now on is going to show just how hard it is for ZOCOM, man. Just how hard it is for ZOCOM versus Black Hat on this map. Bike Buggy, though, this map isn't going to do a lot. I mean, it doesn't have any garrisons inside of it, no engineers, so it can get repaired over time, but I need to try and deal damage to him. I need to keep him busy. Battle marker over on the right hand side. I want to keep some forces at my main just in case that heroic bite comes in, which can kill my harvester in like 2 or 3 seconds, literally. Those raider buggies getting focused down there by the predator tanks. Obelisk as well. I'm going to see if I can crush some of this infantry. It's quicker than aiming it down with that gun of its. Snipers there as well. I want to try and keep those alive if I can. That zone raider squad is expensive, not very expendable. Heroic bike will be targeted down by those predator tanks. Marv goes down there, and yeah, what is he going to do now against these predator tanks? I'm going to get down my tier 2 once again for my tech, because I need a Marv, right? And unlike before, back in the day where you could build a Marv without a tech center, nowadays you need that tech center. So I can't just go right back for it with that Reclamator hub. I have to now go for my tier 2 and then rebuild my tech center once again. He's still got his main, and he still has all of his eco and infrastructure intact. This, which is a problem for me. This flame tank could have killed that refinery. Bit of a mistake there. But I don't know if I can do anything about this flame tank. Yeah, he realizes now. He's like, yeah, there's base down there. I can actually just go ahead and kill that. Which is bad news for me. I'm going to lose my base. Unfortunately, it's going to limit me to the 1 base. Little force in the top of the map. I'm going to keep this war factory camped if I can. Yeah, I mean, I might as well just sell this off, right? Because this flame tank didn't get promoted. I don't want another situation again trying to deal with a heroic unit. The last one he got was so devastating. It killed like 4 of my harvesters. And yeah, I'm now running low on Tiberium. What am I going to do with no tip left as ZOCOM? I'm building a mob, which is really the only thing you can build really at this current time. I got a double-pronged attack. Camping this factory, like I said. No anti-infantry for me, so if he puts down a hand of nod there, he can actually hold that off quite well. There's a commando on foot. That's really bad news. I need an airfield like there's no tomorrow. Like, literally, the moment I heard that announcement, I was like, yeah, airfield. I need Hammerhead to deal with that right away, because heroic commandos, Black Hands, are so hard to kill. Mark comes out once again. I'm going to keep this Reclamator hub. This was one thing I did well in this game. I kept my Rec hub. Usually players sell it off for the zone raider, but I anticipated I'd lose mine, and indeed I did. I sent it into his main, or his expansion, just to see if I can kill it, right? That didn't work. Orc strike on that harvester. I don't think it's going to work. It'll be a miracle if it does work. Radar jamming missile. It's not center I'm playing. He's like the only other player who does that, by the way. For him, it's like a routine, you know, using the radar jamming missile. Rig comes out. This is a very delayed rig rush. Let's not call it a rush, but a rig is going to be great for heating this Marv up, because I want to maximize the DPS with hardpoints, such as the zone raider hardpoint. That commando, once again, is going to be really difficult to take care of. I do have 2 hammerheads. I have my tier 3 alive as well. I'm bringing some full loads of Tiberium. Now, his Redeemer is at full health. That expansion of his is looking pretty vulnerable, so I'm going to see if I can take that out there with the Marv. But I do have to be careful of EMP buggies. My harvesters are going down, so yeah, I lost a bunch more harvesters. My eco is in tatters. I'm not sure if that's a second enemy commando. I think that's just the first one. The game's re-announcing to me that he has it. I knew, it's hard to forget. And here are the raider buggies, man. More raider buggies. Rig is going to do what it can. It has that double guarding cannon on it, which can deal decent DPS to light vehicles such as those buggies. And I was able to intercept the majority of the buggies for that Marv to focus on the Obelisk of Light. Now, this Marv is getting low on health itself. The base is now in peril. enemy commando approaching my MCV. Good job I looked there, man. Because I just lost my first MCV to that Redeemer. Redeemer in my base. It's moving in. He's targeting down my Marv. He's getting repairs near that battle base. And I'm just about going to be able to take that one out there. MCV of mine is going to fall. And I was just able to get down an airfield to build a hammerhead. If not, this MCV would not have ever had an opportunity to deploy unless it's summoned in the... Well, I couldn't even summon in the Bloodhounds. I need an airfield for that. I'd have to use a 3 grand support power, the sniper teams, just to kill this. So, timing was amazing. But when I go to against this Redeemer, the Marv's dead now. The rig has no chance of defending this off. So I'm going to pull this rig back. Either that or I can sell it off. And I'm building grenades. They have EMP. But he's doing a lot of damage. He took out my tier 2 so I can no longer build more grenadier squads. Fortunately for me though, I got that EMP down before he raged. Now, when the rage command is issued, you cannot control your units. Fortunately though, I was able to get that ability locked in before that happened. And now I am in a bunch of trouble because I no longer have EMP. I've got 2 hammerheads which deal no damage at all. I'm going to sell this barracks just to not waste any time here. There's a veteran predator tank which is going to deal decent DPS. Redeemer focusing it down. He may get it in fact. The predator tank lives and I was able to take out that Redeemer. Thankfully I got EMP grenades, right? So that saved me. That upgrade alone. I'm still in this game. Albeit barely. I don't have anti-infantry. A handful of hammerheads is not enough. Remember, he still controls 3 Tiberian fields. I'm long leeching from one of them, plus I've lost a bunch of harvesters. He's got 3 there. I'm going to see if I can target them down. There's a heroic rocket squad in one of those hammerheads, which isn't shooting. There we go. It's shooting now. I'm going to target one of those down, but sadly for me, the bikes came out of nowhere and targeted down those hammerheads, which was unfortunate. I got an army there, but it's not really threatening to this man spam of his, and I know he's building more infantry, so I need to push in the top. I built another Marv because I feel like that's my only option here as ZOCOM. If Marv fails, go back for another Marv. I got a nice army composition. The real issue of mine at this present time is eco and I don't have any harvesters, man. Like, I got 1 or 2 harvesters. That's all I have. A Marv technically qualifies as a harvester, but you don't get the full value out of a tip crystal. But it doesn't really matter there if you're using it to harvest your opponent's field, which is what I'm going to try and do here. Another heroic bike there for him, so I'm going to target that down with the watchtower and actually told the watchtower to kill that first, because it's at this stage in time, if he gets a heroic bike and it's allowed to do what a heroic bike does best, I have no chance. Marv though moving into this field of his. I'm building zone raiders to put in this Marv, which is a good start. And I'm key moving. I'm absolutely key moving at this point. I can sell the tier 3 off for a grenadier, but I'm going to keep it around because I have something on my mind here. I'm building an armory. I've got a tier 3. What does that mean? Well, it could mean I'm going for the upgrades for the zone raiders, but I'm not spamming zone raiders. I'm going... What I have on my mind here is a GDI commando, and even though I don't see mass man spam at this present time, I feel like in a low eco game such as this, these riflemen and this Marv is not going to quite cut it. He can easily overwhelm this with a bunch of raider buggies and a lot of rocket squads. So what I'm going to do is build a commando, and I'm going to push my M2 forward. And if this commando gets low on health, I can build an armory on the front line, put the commando in the armory, get some quick repairs, or heals quicker now in this community patch, and do it that way. So that was a real-time decision strategy that I made in this time. So we're going to see how this goes. Some more raider buggies approaching the scene. Lots of man spam here. If not for this commando, he could have built a huge infantry force. And he's going to EMP the rig. It's not going to do a whole lot though. Marv going to take out the remainder of those buggies, and now this commando is moving in, taking out those infantry. He's got those buildings garrisoned up near my base with a bunch of rocket squads. If I build a grenadier, I'll be able to de-garrison those. Commando, though, doing work. He's got those charged particle cabals, so he's going to be able to do a lot of damage to this commando. Thankfully for me, though, I do have an armory, which I sold off. I'm going to build a tier 2 again, because I'm afraid of being hit by a commander. I'm afraid of being hit by flame tanks, because Blackhand, even though you're in a position like this, they can still send in the flame tank and win a base trade situation. He probably is massing infantry at his expansion, as all Blackhand players do. So yeah, some infantry attacking my base here, which he evacuated from his buildings. In fact, he's still got that building garrison. And since I've been long leashing Tib this whole time, I can even just harvest normally my field I had empty before. So I'm going to bring in some full Tiberium, and only now I'm like, yep, I don't think the Marv's going to die. If it does, it's not going to be the wisest choice going back for another one. What I'd want to do is go for Hammerhead, since he's going to be building infantry, and most likely this commando should live if I recycle it and build an armory and heal it up once again. So yeah, the commando has received some heals in that armory. I want to sell this refinery up before it dies, just so I don't lose resources. Marv moving in. That's not good for me though, since that's a ton of infantry and it's going to get overwhelmed once again as it did before. Commando and the poultry forces of mine at my main will clean this up, and I'm going to move this MSV forward. I can only hope to secure this fight with the MSV forward. It does have a rifleman inside that Marv, that rifle garrison rarely making an appearance, though it is in this particular game. Awesome game in my opinion. Hammerhead moving into the city with a grenadier inside is going to be able to clear out some of those buildings. EMP Raider Buggy is going to EMP this Marv. It's taking a lot of damage now from the infantry. Marv getting really low on health. That's most likely going to go down. I've got 2, 3, 4 Hammerheads. More repeat EMPs coming down. And I'm going to build an armory preemptively on the front line. Those Zone Raiders will get some quick repairs. And I'm going to use the Hammerheads to transport the commando of mine. So the commando, if it came by foot, would not have been in their fight for when it needed to be. But here it is. As long as I focus down this Kabar's going to be able to kill this infantry force off very quickly. And I even use the jump jet on that Zone Raider so it can get back to that armory very quickly. Rig is still alive. That's going to provide me with a base head to attack him from. It's going to... Well, in this matchup, it's not going to be necessarily the tech stealth, but it does detect stealth as well. And this commando is like the worst nightmare for a player with no build at all and just infantry. Commando moving in, as well as the Hammerheads to support, and with that, my opponent will have no choice but to call the GG. And for all of you who don't know, that was actually Underworld Fox. I don't think you guys would have imagined that it was him in the start of the game. That was why I didn't show that in the loading screen that it was Underworld Fox. And I think he's came a long way in the past couple of months. I was very surprised by this game. This could have been easily someone else who is more experienced, but I think he did a fantastic job there and really did make me work for that win. And I could have lost 100 different ways there, and I thought it was really back and forth. Awesome action throughout. I had an eco lead, but against Blackhand you do need it as ZOCOM, especially on that map, especially against all those heroic units that we saw. Anyways guys, hope you all enjoyed that game. I thought it was a really good game, and I'll see you all in the next video. And before I go, I'd like to thank all my Patreon members for the continued support and for keeping this going. And you guys, without you guys, we would not have this patch, the community map packs that I have released over the past couple of years. So this is it from me, Master Leaf, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace out.